Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's time for the Brown Sports Bag from the Heart of the Barrens, a weekly local sports machine. Alongside John Butler, here's your host, James Brown.
Start it off. I mean, look, football season's less than 2 weeks away now, so we're going to start today's show off with Glasgow Scotty's football coach Jeff Garmon in here. Got some changes for your program this year. Obviously, you graduated a pretty good senior class last year. Specifically, some linemen who started along. A lot of them started 3 years for you, didn't they?
They did.
So, I mean, you've got some changes there. You're going to have a new quarterback, although that's going to be an interesting situation whenever the season rolls around. So we'll talk about that. But also, you have some changes on your staff. So let's really start with your staff. Because your guy who was your offensive coordinator, I guess the last couple of years, John Myers, I think that was technically his role, wasn't it?
It was.
He's the head coach at Barron County now, so you guys will have some familiarity when you play each other this year. But you also have some younger guys that have been working either, I guess, in your JV program or maybe down in the middle school program who are up there and getting a chance to learn and I guess wear the big shoes these days. Is that right?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about some of your staff changes there first.
Well, I mean, with John leaving and going to Barron County, you know, what we internally did, we just kept what we had there. Mm-hmm. We've had three guys, Cameron Garmon, Tyler Hughes, Randall Parmley. All three have been coaching at the high school and the middle school. Mm-hmm. So those guys would practice middle school in the morning, come to the high school practice in the afternoon. They went to every high school game, went to every JV game, went to every middle school game, and those guys had paid their dues. And we will have them now full time just at the high school. Yeah. And that's the duties. I mean, as far as a coordinator coming and going, you know, this will be now the fourth different person in 8 years that I've had doing this. So, you know, I started off with Will Barnes, then it went to James McReynolds. He was there a couple of years. John was there a couple of years. So it's nothing, I don't want to say it's nothing new, but it's something that you deal with and you just move on. I mean, coaches and assistant coaches are hard to find these days, and it's not a lot of pay. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of being critiqued in what you do for very little money, but we're happy with the guys we got there. You know, Coach Buford, Stephen, has been here the last 7 or 8 years, so he stays on, and we just continue to move forward.
Well, and so with the change, specifically, I guess, new offensive changes, I mean, I'm guessing that means you guys are going to be trying out a new offense this year.
Well, I mean, we will continue to do what we've done in the past, and I mean, the spread part of the game will be the same. Some of the other areas will change in how we going to attack our running game. We might not be as much wing T, so we might go back more to a traditional I like we have at Glasgow for a lot of years. So, you know, that's still to give or take. We're playing that through, but the big thing is, you know, I'm happy with the guys we got there. They want to be there. That they're excited about being there, and they're getting a great opportunity. All three of them will be the new additions. Well, I wouldn't call them new additions. The new roles that they've taken on, it'll be new opportunities for them, and they're excited for that.
Yeah. Going back to the offensive line, I know you've got a lot of good skill players returning, even though you had a good senior class. But let's talk about that offensive line because you've replaced, I think, 2 guys are going and playing in college and off the line itself. And then you've got, you know, other guys who had impacts for you, played a lot for you. But let's talk about that. What is the process of trying to rebuild that offensive front?
Well, it's the same process as it was 3 years ago when these guys started. I heard the same scenario 3 years ago. What are you going to do when Tanner Bowles leaves, when Peyton Gibbons leaves, when Connor Taylor leaves? And when you're in a program, and I say it like Glasgow, and I don't mean it to be anything. Where traditionally we've had good teams. You know, you play for that senior class and for and you hope that a lot of seniors are involved. And so that's what makes the core of your team. So when a big class like that graduates, people forget about these other kids because they just haven't had opportunities.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for new kids to get opportunities, and that were playing behind some pretty good players last year. And any other year they may have been playing, but it just so played out that we had 5 seniors across the board. But we've heard this story before. I mean, in the sense of you mentioned earlier that of those seniors, a lot of them started as sophomores.
Right.
Well, they only started as sophomores because we had a very, very small senior class that year, and now it starts moving forward.
Yeah, John?
Well, you start in about a week and a half, I guess, so it's pretty close to gearing it up for real. Tell us about your first scrimmage where I think you scrimmaged Davies County last Thursday, is that correct?
We scrimmaged last Thursday.
Were you overall pretty pleased with the results and so forth?
I was pleased. I was pleased with how the kids played. We were able to run the football. We were able to throw the football. Offensively, we moved the ball. We did it in a 10-play format. So we went about 30 plays on offense, 30 plays on defense, and I was happy with the results. It was going into it when you've got some inexperience, you want to see how kids respond. And
scrimmages sometimes are more important when you're kind of got inexperienced people.
It is at times. It really is. And these kids get an opportunity to go out there and compete and to kind of get some of the nervousness and stuff out of their system. But even guys that we have back from last year, they will be in a different role this year than they were last year. So, this is what I find interesting about coaching, and what I enjoy about coaching is you get to take a new group and see what they can do and see what they got, and you figure out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and you play to it. And that kind of goes from year to year. But sometimes it's refreshing to kind of just start. I don't want to say over from scratch, but also just to get new opportunities and new people. And I just that's refreshing to me, is to sit back and watch kids and watch them develop and watch them grow and watch them mature.
Well, and I guess as coaches, that's part of it. You've put people in your program, and you want to see as they, what they do to get better, and then how that affects your program. And I'm guessing it's pretty rewarding when you see guys put in that effort and then they step out there on the field and perform.
And it's just like coaching. I mean, everybody got an opportunity at some time to be a coach, and you got better as the more you did it, and the longer you go, and you learn from experiences. These boys are the same way.
Yeah,
they just got to get an opportunity, and they get out there and they play hard and do what you ask them to do, and at the end of the day, that's all you can ask. But I've enjoyed myself this summer. I've enjoyed watching these other guys get out there and coach, and they're working hard and they're really into it. And I also enjoy watching these guys, and now they're in different roles. And some of the guys that were sophomores last year, all these skilled kids we got were sophomores last year, and kind of took a little bit of a back seat to some of the older kids. Now they're pushed up, and now they're the leaders of the team, and watching them, how they handle themselves, how they go out, perform when you get a scrimmage situation. And good to say that those kids responded the other night and played really well.
Well, let's talk about the quarterback situation, because you lost your quarterback from the last couple of years, and really 3 years, because he even started some as a freshman, Easton Jesse. But it's because he's now in Adair County, and I'm guessing he'll be over there starting for them.
I assume so. I don't know that. I haven't talked to anybody from Adair County.
I haven't either, but it'd be surprising if he's not.
Me too.
And then they have Stonebreaker over there as their coach, and then of course his son's a really good wide receiver, so it's a pretty good matchup. And then there's the added bonus there in the district with you.
They are. They are.
So you get to see your former quarterback probably playing over at Adair County, but you had a guy coming up behind him, and maybe a couple. I know Hudson Gum was the backup last year. I think he'll be a junior this year. So maybe he got enough reps the last couple of years once he decided to start playing football.
Well, he got a lot. He quarterbacked all the JV games, and we liked what we saw. And, and even when Easton came to me and told me that he was leaving to go to Adair County, I looked at it as, Easton had been here for 4 years.
Right.
He took that 5th year, and in Easton, I felt appreciative of what he had done for us here at Glasgow, but I also felt a sense of it's an opportunity for Hudson, and for Hudson having to wait till his senior year. Now it kind of moves up a little bit. Hudson gets to take over his junior year, and just to watch him, how much better he's gotten the last 2 months is amazing to me. He's really plays well. He's a leader out there on the football field. The kids listen to him and respond to him. He's just got a knack to make some plays. He can do it with his legs. He can do it with his arm. And some of the things that we're doing with him is a little bit different than how we've done it the last few years. But he's done everything that we've asked him to do so far and done it pretty well.
Well, and he does have at least one big weapon out there with Jeff Garmon, who has a lot of experience and is a tall, rangy, fast wide receiver. So, I mean, it's not like he's going to be throwing it to potatoes or anything out there.
That's right. We've got some good players. And along beside Jarek, I mean, we've got a sophomore, Jalen Bradley, that's his – for a sophomore, he's really good, and he's fast, and he's athletic, and he can make plays out in the open field. We've got some weapons out there on the outside, and we've got a good stable of running backs. We also forget about a receiver who didn't get to play a lot last year, Kellen Stone, who can run and is fast. So we've got speed out there on the perimeter in the backfield. They can all catch the ball well, catch the ball out of the backfield. They do a lot of good things.
Yeah, John?
Talk about defensively, Coach. Were you, again, in the scrimmage, pleased with your defense and so forth?
I was really pleased. I mean, the first thing I want to see is can we establish stopping the run, and we were able to do that. I think our secondary's got a great opportunity to be really good. I mean, you've got Jarek Martin, Jalen Bradley,
a lot of those receivers,
Kellen Stone. They're coming over to play at the spots, and then our 2 outside. I call them safeties. We got a middle safety and 2 outside safeties. We've got a good rotation there of a lot of our running backs. So it's like we rotate 4 people into those spots, and we've got 4 corners that we feel happy with, that we can adjust to give Jarek or Jalen a break if we need to. But our core is we've got 3 linebackers across there that are good size. They're all 185, 190 pounds. They all bench over 300 pounds, and they're athletic and can run. And those 3 guys are Brady Geary, who's been injured the last 2 years, hasn't got an opportunity to play. It's great to see him out there. Trey Smith, who's a really good athlete, just physical, likes to strike people, and then Max Lee. Max has really improved from last year. Max is going to be more of an inside player this year than we played him a little bit more out on the perimeter last year, but he's going to be a more inside. And then we look at our defensive line, and we've got some size in the fact of you got Kievan Massey, who's back from last year. You've got a kid that's 6'3", 230 pounds, Xander Contreras. He's a big physical kid. And then we've got some different guys we can put in the middle. We've got a freshman, to be honest with you, that's about 225. If we want to go big, we can. He's about 6'4", 320 pounds. He's a big boy that can move a little bit too. And then we've got some other guys that we can do more that are a little bit smaller that can use their speed. So we've got some different looks, and the one thing with our defense this year is we've kind of, since I've been here, we've kind of played the same defense the last 14 years. It's what I ran when I was at Corbin all those years. It's what I knew. It's what I'm familiar with. We are changing up a little bit and running some different fronts with that. So it's a little bit different than where we're going with this. But in the scrimmage of the night, you want to see if we can stop the run. The one mistake we made in the scrimmage was we over-pursued Davies County's cut back against us. And, that's something you see early in the year. People are anxious getting after the football, and that happens. And so there was mistakes made that we need to correct. But overall, I was really pleased with what we're trying to do.
Is the defensive change because you feel like you got players you can plug in and play differently in different ways depending on what you want to try to accomplish?
It does. We've went to putting more skilled kids out on the defensive side of the ball. So that's one adjustment that I've made, and it's also it's one of these deals where we've done this long enough now. People kind of know how we're going to line up, and not that our defense has been. We will still play the defense that we've played the last 15 years. It might just be. It's going to be a different look where we're going to change our front back and forth and try to make it a little more interesting. So like when in our old defense, the three technique always went to the weak side, and everybody knew that. Now it could change, and we play it kind of a different form where he's on the strong side. So it's going to be a little bit more of a multiple look out of that, but nothing, it's not nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. But
right, you're not running the Bears 46 or anything.
No. I'm not smart enough to do that.
Your district is not that you can control your district, but your district was really good last year. Obviously, Hart County was like one play away from the state finals, I believe. And I know Adair is supposed to be really good. Franklin is Franklin. I think Butler County has a new coach from Todd Central. Is that right?
He is.
So your district will be a challenge.
It will, and last year it was a challenge,
Yep.
and I said going into it, a team could finish third in that district and be a really, really good football team. I think last year we went 9-3 and lost on a last-second play to Hart County, lost by a last possession of the game down to 3 minutes to go in the game at Hart County. The score's tied. So we lose two close games that way. And then I think the game with Franklin was like a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And in that game, they had a defensive touchdown, stripped us and took it in. Yeah. So we're right there in every game.
Right.
We just didn't seal the deal. But it was I didn't take it as any shame in our game. I tip my hat to Hart County. They did a really good job. The coach Griffith did a really, really good job all year long keeping that together, and it's tough. It's hard, and Franklin's Franklin. They get the utmost respect from me because consistently year in and year out, Franklin is a good football team. But it's a tough district, and then with Hart County, Adair County coming back, they probably got a lot of kids back from last year. They lost a couple of good players, but they also, have an opportunity to step up this year, and it's kind of all starting to waver out just a little bit. I think we got one more year to kind of get through all this COVID stuff,
right,
where teams had opportunities for players to stay back. If you go back and look at the Hart County team, that whole team stayed back. Adair's picked up some fifth-year guys. Monroe County's going to go through a cycle. They had a whole class. It's going to be this year, next year, and it's kind of going to all even back out just a little bit. And you got to kind of take what you had and play with it and see where it goes. But I like our chances. I know it's a tough district, but to me it's fun. I really had fun last year, even though we lost 3 games and finished the year 9-3 and. I know a lot of people maybe felt disappointed in that, but I also know there's a lot of teams that would take 9-3 and be tickled to death too. So, well,
real quick, before we're going to talk about your schedule, but I wanted to ask you about when they did the redistricting this past spring, because I thought you guys were going to wind up dropping back to 2A, so I was a little surprised you ended up staying in 3A. Because, Glasgow's traditionally been in 2A, and that last cycle you had to request to stay up in 3A. Were you surprised that your student population or male population kept you in 3A? I know that's where you wanted to be.
I think we were the smallest school in 3A.
Yeah.
When it got down to it, I think we are the smallest one. So, it is what it is. Last time you had an opportunity to play up if you choose to. We chose to, and we could have stayed and played in 2A, and nothing wrong with 2A. 2A is a very competitive, but we knew what was ahead of us, and we knew how it was going to be with Franklin coming into our district.
Yeah.
So, and how much tougher that makes it. But it is what it is. You play the games, and that's why they play them and keep score. And at the end, you hope you win more than you didn't. I mean, we've had some success in 2A. We've had success in 3A. So it's just it's one of those deals. It's kind of like the rules. I really can't. I don't worry about it because there ain't nothing I can control about it. So I just do what they say and move on.
Yeah. Well, on your schedule, you guys are playing LaRue County in your first game. That's going to be on the 23rd. But that game's now going to be played at the Elizabethtown Sports Complex, right?
Yes, it is. I think LaRue County's having their field redone. I think they're going to field turf, and I don't think it's going to be completed by the date. And I think the site that they chose to play their games at is the sports complex in E-Town. Never been there, so I mean I've heard it's really nice. So that's a good thing.
I think I read where that's going to be the first high school football game played on that field.
Very well could be. I don't know that. I didn't even know there was a field there. I thought it was all baseball and softball fields and stuff. So, go figure.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting thing. I've not been up there in a little while. They didn't have much in the way of stands, but they had a little hill people could sit on probably.
Well, good.
But when you look down your schedule, I mean, it's the same one you had last year. It's just flipped home and away. Of course, you got your usual teams that you like to play. Russellville, you get them at home this year. At Monroe County, home against Allen County Scottsville. And then you'll play Barron over there. And then your district starts off with a dare on September 27th. What do you kind of think of that pre-district schedule? What do you think these teams will look like this year?
LaRue County is going to be a team that's going to be in our district next year.
Yes.
So that's going to be something that stays on our schedule. Don't know a lot about Russellville. We did some 7-on-7 stuff with them. They had good-looking guys, good-looking boys, so I look forward to that. Monroe County, I mean, they should be getting back to where they used to be. I mean, that whole class stayed back from that COVID year, so it's either going to be this year or next year. They're going to be a force to deal with. Allen County is it's a traditional game, and then the Barron County game, and it's kind of throw the score out, and both teams depends on who plays well that night.
Last year a barn burner.
It was a good game last year, and and hopefully it'll be another good game this year. But I think it's a competitive schedule. The Barron game is the game that people like to see. The Allen County, the Monroe County, Russellville, those are games we've been playing at Glasgow for the last 30 years. So, nothing out of the crazy there. And then you play the district game, and then the last game of the year is against Somerset, who is a team that made it out to the, if I'm not mistaken, the semi-state last year. And there's a good football team that we beat last year.
Yeah.
And they'll come down to our place, and the coach down there does a really, really good job. They're a good football team.
Yeah. John, you got any more questions for Coach
No,
Garmon?
just wish you the best. And like I said, do you have one more scrimmage?
We have one more scrimmage coming up this week, and it'll be played more like a game, and it's going to be more of a game situation. And, our starters our varsity guys will probably play about a half, maybe a little bit more, and then we'll finish it out with the younger guys, and then we tip it up and ready to go.
Happy with your kickers?
Happy with our kickers.
You always have good
got
kickers.
A good kicker.
You always have good
We've
kickers.
got a guy that kicked for us last year.
Yeah,
so
is Jared
he's
kicking
coming
for you
back.
again?
Jared will be back.
They can win you a lot of games, close games.
And he's steady. It's a little different with Jared where he's more involved in soccer.
Yeah.
So getting him there at the exact same time as everyone else is a little more difficult, but it's something you deal with. He's a really good kicker, and he's kicked well this summer. He looks better than where he was last year at this time. So happy for that.
Yeah, he's like the boys' soccer team leading scorer, so they kind of need him too.
Yeah. As long as they leave Friday nights open, that'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Coach Garmon, for joining us
Thank you.
talking
I
about the Glasgow
appreciate
Scotties, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right, it's Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
All right, it's Brown Sports Bag back here, presented by McDonald's Glasgow. Thanks to Coach Garmon for joining us to talk about his football team. We had Coach John Myers last week. A lot of people downloaded that show to listen to that interview with him. We were supposed to have Caverna coach Trevent Hayes today, but he's not able to make it. Hopefully we can get him in next week before they play their first game. They'll be at Muhlenberg County on their first game. So that way we can get all of our football coaches covered. We've had a lot of coaches in here leading up to the starts of these seasons. We've had soccer coaches. We've had volleyball coach. We've had golf coaches. So, yeah, it's been a pretty busy time. As a matter of fact, this high school soccer season starts tonight. Barron County's girls are playing at Bowling Green. My son's going to be over there covering that game, so look for some photos from that and maybe a couple of interviews. If not tonight, then tomorrow. And then also the Barron County boys game that was originally supposed to be at Hart County. I think they are doing some field work as well. So they're playing it over here. So the Barron County boys will play it at 5:30 at the new field. New as in this is the second year they'll be playing on it. And that game starts at 5:30. So if you thought that was a away game and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll go get dinner. Well, now you have an opportunity. You can catch that game over there. Or if you happen to be in Bowling Green and want to watch a game. And then I think both Glasgow's teams get started tomorrow night. And so, soccer season is here as well. Volleyball starts next Monday. And then the football season starts August 23rd. So, yeah, good time to get started here. Before we talk, let's talk. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the Olympics. And here's, I guess my thoughts is for me, just out of the bag, was if you watched it on TV or even if you had like the Peacock Plus thing and you wanted to watch things that had already been played, you could do that. I thought might be some of the best actual coverage of Olympic Games that I've seen in a long time. I mean, I thought the TV work was good. I thought the stories were good. I'm an online cord cutter kind of person, so I really liked the fact that I could go on that Peacock Plus and go back and watch. Like I watched all the 7-on-7 rugby because I enjoy that particular sport. And, you could go and watch just different things. You could go back and watch the basketball games, soccer, gymnastics, whatever. So for me, that part was pretty good too. I know John's not really a cord cutter kind of person. He's still hanging on to that thing, but
I watch regular cable television.
The cable providers, thank you too.
You're welcome. That's exactly right.
So what was your kind of impression, at least of the coverage? Let's start there. What was your impression of the coverage of the Olympics?
Well, I mean, it was good. I mean, I mainly tried to stay away from knowing anything about what happened in the morning and day.
Yeah.
So I watched the night, the taped at night, which was good. During the day, if the basketball or like women's soccer was playing, then I would try to watch that if I could.
Yeah.
But the coverage was I give NBC an A.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week. The challenge of the 2021 Olympics, even though they're supposed to be 2020, because it was the COVID, and I thought some of the coverage was a real struggle, and I'm sure that was part of it, is just trying to get people.
Well, the time difference makes a big difference, too, for an American audience.
That's right. Yeah, because it was the middle of the night, when these things were happening, and so, but I guess that's the other thing is you're talking about watching the things that were rebroadcast in the evening.
Yep.
I don't think they did that during the last Olympics, or if they did, it felt like it was discombobulated. But even if I go back to 2016 or 2012, maybe the technology's reached a point where they can really kind of cover the Olympics in a different way these days.
I don't know. Or they just found another way to get people to buy more things, maybe, to watch it live.
Well, I mean, maybe, but
like Peacock.
I'm a what they call a churner. I turn things on and turn them off, which is I think why I like that. Because I got rid of my cable in 2011 because I always hated the fact that I had to have a bunch of channels I had no interest in. So, that was my thing. But I'm glad that these services are coming around to the idea that there are a lot of us like myself out there as well. I know you like the swimming and the track.
Yes.
Were there some things there, stories that happened there that really stood out to you in either one of those?
Well, I've already talked about the swimming. Swimming's been over for a week.
Yeah.
So, Katie Ledecky and the women were tremendous. The guys only had 2 gold medals in the swimming.
Right.
So the women really carried the weight on that one. But the track team was, the Americans were tremendous. Sydney, McLaughlin was, the world record holder in the 400 hurdles. Another, I got to throw out to UK. Kentucky was well represented.
Yeah.
In fact, Kentucky had, if you counted the gold medals for people that went to Kentucky, they would have been like top 10.
Right.
Yeah, there's 3 on the basketball team.
Yeah, that's right.
But Sydney McLaughlin was another one, and there was a fencer from Lexington. I don't know if that counts as UK, but the one that won the 100-meter female 100-meter hurdles was at Kentucky.
Yeah.
So but Sydney McLaughlin is probably my favorite athlete just to watch. Her grace. She had 2 golds. She won obviously that set the world record in the 400-meter hurdles, but she also was on the 400-meter relay team as well. Mm-hmm. And ran the fastest of all 4 legs. Of course, you run faster without having to jump over hurdles too. So she was tremendous. Gabby Thomas was another one that won 2 golds. She won the 200, and also was on the 100-meter relay team that won it for the women.
Yeah.
She's just another tremendous athlete and so forth. There was a little-known track runner that his name was Cole, I think Hawker, that was not even maybe he was expected to medal, but nowhere was he expected to win the 1,500, which is basically the mile. And he snuck up the rail like a horse in the Derby coming off the rail and passed the 2 favorites, leaders at the very end to win. In fact, the runner was third, was from Louisville. Uh-huh. So, that was cool. Probably the shot put, I think we won it in women and men and all that. I love the relays. The only disappointing part about the relay is the men, again, the 100-meter relay. We hadn't won in close to 20-something years.
Right.
Another disqualification. It's kind of hard to figure out why we continue to have trouble in that event. I've gone blank. The guy that won the 100-meter dash,
Noah Lyles.
Yeah, ran third in the 200, and come to find out he was running with COVID.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard to overcome that one, to be honest with you. But those in track, I love the track. I'll just be honest with you. I love the track and of course the swimming. Maybe because we're really good too. That probably adds to it. But I just like those individual events and the relays. It's just something about that means a little bit more. Those guys and gals are only in the limelight basically every 4 years.
Right.
They're pros. Don't get me wrong. They're professionals now. They make a living doing that.
Yeah.
But they're not, making $40-50 million a year playing.
You just don't catch them in prime time.
That's correct.
It's off time or the second channel.
And their event is what makes it the pressure even more is it's once every 4 years. Really.
Yeah. Right. So back to the Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone. I finally heard how her married name is now pronounced. That 400-meter hurdles, that she is so dominant. And I think she won it by a second and a half in that particular 400, the one where she broke her own world record. Yeah, she won it easy. Mm-hmm. It's just incredible how good she is compared to the people she's running against. It's just it's Usain Bolt-like in terms of just absolutely so good compared to the people she's competing against. It's amazing.
Almost dropped 50.
Yeah.
She's 50.13, something like that. So almost dropped that. But the grace, the strength, she's just I can't say enough good things.
Yeah. On the track, I think sometimes I enjoy all track, but I love watching good relays because just the fact that you can link 4 people together, they can run at the speed they're running at, and when they're good, those exchanges are just a work of art.
Yes.
When it's just an incredible thing to see that rhythm down and that perfection. And, at the Olympic Games, for the most part, every one of the teams is going to be like that. So you're talking just the slightest things can be the difference between winning and not.
in the 100.
Yeah, in the 100
Yeah, not the
especially.
400. 400,
No,
there's
no,
more
no.
room.
Yeah.
That's a full lap.
Yeah, the
that's-
100 and 200 are closer like that.
Right,
But
right.
especially the 100, you're right.
Yeah, but no, I like that, and of course the basketball at the end was thrilling, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know, for all my criticism and I guess fatigue of LeBron,
Yeah.
I mean, he is great in the Olympics.
Yeah, he
I mean,
is.
he's tremendous, and but so is Curry too.
Yeah.
I mean, he put on one of the best performances I've ever seen at any event in the comeback win against
Serbia.
Was it against?
Yeah,
I was
Serbia,
talking
where
about-
they were down.
well, he was down against. Was it Serbia that he was down and came back, or France?
Yeah, it was they were down against Serbia by 17.
Yeah, and came back and
Yeah.
won. They were also down against France. Wasn't
Yeah.
it where he hit 4 straight threes to end the game?
Right.
Yeah, he closed out France with 4 straight threes.
Yeah.
In the last 2 minutes, it was like a 1-point game, and he finished them off too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he had big games against Serbia and also against France, and in fact against France he scored the last 12 points of the game, I believe, and he's just. I mean, you could tell how much it's meant to him. I think that was his first gold.
Yeah.
I don't think he played in the previous one for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But he
He
was.
missed one because of injury,
Okay.
and then the other one he decided not to go to Japan, I think.
But LeBron and Curry and
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant were unbelievably good. And you know, people are making comparisons this or that or whatever, but people have to realize too. Now I just like their commitment and so forth.
Right.
And you could tell it meant a lot to them. Mm-hmm. In the same sense, though, for LeBron, though, I mean, it's different when you're only playing 40 minutes. You're not playing an 82 game schedule. It's perfect for
Yeah.
basically him and so forth. In the sense that he only played 6 games,
Right.
and no back-to-backs, and so there's plenty of rests and so forth. But man, he was. I have nothing negative to say about him. He was great. Curry was great, and I mean they had to earn it. I mean it's not like it was when you had Michael and all
Yeah,
them, because
92.
the world has caught up.
Oh yeah.
It's so much. The teams are so much better. So you know it's not just a cakewalk to go out there and win. You know you had to earn it to beat France in the final game on their home court, to beat Serbia in the semifinals when they were down 17 and had to down 13 going into the fourth and came back.
Yeah.
I mean all those things made their accomplishment I think even greater.
You know, one of the things, and I think we back probably in May or maybe it was even April before the NBA playoffs started, and I remember you and I had this discussion about players I was tired of hearing about. Like, I'm just ready for them to move on. And the 3 you just named are 3 of the ones I'm just tired of hearing about, except watching them.
I'm not tired of Curry.
No, but I guess it's less about them per se, but more about the oxygen they soak up in a room.
Right.
And for me, I'm ready for some new blood to take over, which is why I was so excited to see the season Anthony Edwards had in the playoffs. But I was so impressed, like you said, with their commitment to that team, Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant, and how much it obviously meant to them to win. And for all 3 of them to be healthy enough to play, no extenuating circumstances. And it was a question about Durant until the Olympics started, really.
I think there's a strong likelihood that all 3 or 2 of the 3 will be back in 2028.
Do you think so?
Listen, they just got to play 6 games.
I mean, I get that, but still, it's kind of, I figured this is their last gas, and maybe that's why it was so important to them.
Don't know.
But I will tell you this, too. Going back to that game between the USA and Serbia, that game also simultaneously proves just how good Jokic is as a basketball player. Because, yes, he had guys who did well in the game, but, I mean, he's orchestrating that whole team, basically, and causing the USA problems. And he didn't particularly have a great scoring
We got
game.
in foul trouble.
Yeah, but he had a great game in terms of distribution and just mentally playing the game. And so that was kind of that game was pretty interesting in that sense as well. But going back to Steph Curry, I mean, he started on fire. I think he finished with 38 points in that game. I mean, if he did not play the way he did in that game, the U.S. would have lost it.
I don't know if they'd have beaten France either.
No, probably not.
I mean, and then you have the women.
Oh, yeah.
Who almost had a colossal collapse.
Yes.
Which they, end up beating France by 1 and trailed most of that game too. And just to be honest with you, did not play very well.
No.
And take away Asia Wilson, who basically just carried them, and that would have been a colossal upset. And their design on how they picked the team would have really been double down.
Yes, it would have.
Because
there'd have been a whole lot of heat coming.
Several on that team, Diana Taurasi, who got her, 5th or 6th medal at 43, I don't know if she played the last couple of games.
No, she wasn't particularly great from the beginning toward the end.
So it was they're very, very fortunate to win. Of course, they've won 62 in a row, too.
Yeah.
But nothing this close.
Well, and also the girl who took the shot that made it 67-66 for France did not realize, Gabby Williams.
Well, she caught it. There's no way. I mean, the ball, the pass that led her to it,
yeah.
I mean, it was a pass that led her right to the inside the line. So
Right.
she made a 3 at the buzzer. That there was actually a 2. Her foot was definitely on the line. If they would have given her 3, it'd have tied it. But
yeah. But I think everybody was a little bit shocked but there is a photo. I think it's of Breanna Stewart pointing at the floor.
it was definitely on the line. I mean,
there was no controversy once you really saw it. But
you never know with the Olympics,
Right? Yeah, that's true.
We had a bronze medal gymnast who's back home in Oklahoma, and they're telling her to send it back because now they're overruling her bronze medal.
Right, yeah.
For a technicality.
Yeah, because her coach was 4 seconds too late arguing something, the points or whatever it was.
I'm thinking, good luck on getting that medal back.
It's gone. You'll never see it again. Anything else about the Olympics before we get out of this?
No, like I said, it was the United States ended up tying actually with the gold with China.
Yeah.
Who I don't think lost the diving.
No, they were dominant.
They won every diving competition. 40 gold apiece, but overall medals, United States won pretty easily.
Yeah, about 30 maybe 30 more.
I think it's
than China.
overall hard to complain about how well the United States did. And I think most people who support U.S. Olympics should be very happy with overall performance. And the games went over fine, in terms of no major tragedies or disruptions and so forth. So that you always have your fingers crossed and things like that. So glad it went over well.
Yeah. All right. It's the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
Well, John, our golf teams hit the links on Saturday. The girls' teams were over at Pulaski County at Eagles Nest Country Club in Somerset. And both boys' teams were at Shady Hollow Golf Course in Cub Run /B, the woods of Edmonson County, somewhere out there. Well, let me back up. None of our teams particularly had outstanding days. We had a couple of golfers that had good days, but especially Chloe Witcher had a great day at Eagles Nest. She shot 74, and I'm pretty sure this is her first career tournament win as an individual.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, so she had an outstanding day. Everybody else was kind of struggling over there, so I don't know what was going on, but she had her best day.
She was in a zone.
She definitely was. That may have been, I don't know if the par was 71 or 72, but it was one of those, and so, she was real close to par.
That's great. Chloe will be a sophomore this year, correct?
That is correct, Yep. So that's definitely her best round of the year, and I don't know, I think she shot a 73 last year in a tournament, so it may not be her best career high school round, but and amazingly enough, we're halfway through the golf season, and we're only halfway through the month of August because they started July 22nd and play 3 or 4 times a week. So now we kind of get into that pace with Barron returning to school, I think on Thursday. We get into that pace where everybody's playing every Saturday. There are some weekday matches. I know the Barron County boys and Glasgow boys have a couple of those, and I think Barron and Glasgow play each other during a weekday match, and maybe the Glasgow girls play a couple of weekday matches. But so many people are focused on playing in these tournaments now because you get those all-state points and then try to go play in that all-state tournament in September. So that's the 9-hole match thing that used to be really prevalent in high school golf just isn't anymore. But yeah, I think over at Shady Hollow, Braden Furlong, I think, shot 77 or 76 for Barron. Cameron Pippin, I think, shot 80, something like that. Glasgow, Griffin Jackson shot 78. Tate Pace was not there Saturday. I think Harrison Belcher shot 80. Actually, I think Cameron Pippin may have shot 79 now that I think about it. But anyway, so we had some rounds in the 70s, right at 80. But and then Zach Sloan from Hart County, he won the Raider Invitational. That's Warren East was hosting that tournament. And he shot 68. He won the thing, I think, by 3 strokes. I mean, he's having a good year. He's listed as from Horse Cave when you look at the summer stuff, but he goes to Hart County High School. So, yeah, he's having a good year so far as well as an individual. But anyway, the golf is we've got about, I guess the regional tournament, I think, is the third week of September, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's a little more than a month of the season left, but the pace of it's going to slow down in terms of how many tournaments they're playing and all.
Had great weather.
Yeah, I tell you what, Saturday was beautiful to be out there. I mean, it was nice out, temperature was nice, sun was out. I mean, it was a beautiful day for golf. It was kind of a shockingly good day, which just scares me. The next couple of weeks, hopefully, we don't have another heat dome over us. As these other sports get going.
Had a good 10 days.
Yeah, we have indeed. Anything else you can think of?
About golf?
Golf?
Nope. Not that I can think of. Nope.
All right. Well, this is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
John, you joked a few weeks ago that we should do like a quiz. Maybe we should do a quiz bowl, trying to figure out what schools are in which conference and that kind of thing. And I, we kind of joked about it. We talked about it a little bit. But then I was looking at WKU's football schedule. I was looking at the Master Conference USA football schedule. I was trying to figure out, when things were going on and all this kind of jazz. And then I saw on there a team that I didn't even know played Division I football that's in Conference USA. And so it just hit me. I'm like, when? I mean, I'm guessing they were already in the conference, but I know they didn't play last year. Kennesaw State.
Yeah, they're new. Yeah.
And I was just like, I really didn't even know they played Division I football.
Kennesaw State was a former member of the ASUN.
Really?
The one with Eastern and Bellarmine.
Like a full? Oh, you mean when they were Division I AA?
No, they were ASUN members.
But that was just basketball, right?
I don't know. I think they were in softball and things like that. So I don't know if they've fully joined Conference USA or not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're down as a football school. They're on there as a football school member now.
Okay.
And I don't know, like I said, last year we got Jacksonville State and we got Liberty and, I think was Sam Houston one of the ones that joined last year as well.
Yep.
We had the holdovers like UTEP and
the one down in Texas, the Dallas Baptist.
Yeah, but now they're not a football playing school.
Okay, they're baseball
and I don't know if they're basketball either. I know they are baseball. So that's part of maybe that's part of the confusion for me because I don't know when Kennesaw State became a Division I football program. I have no idea.
I don't either.
And that's why when I saw that they were on the schedule, I was just like my mind was doing backflips, I guess. Yeah, I was so confused by it.
They have 18 Division I programs with 17 of those competing in Conference USA. It's their second year transitioning to the FBS series.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
So last year they were a member, but there was one of those where they were not able to play like a conference schedule yet because they were still doing that transition.
That's correct.
So like WKU did when they did it, because they had like a year or two where they weren't in a conference and then they joined the Sun Belt. They weren't in a conference in football, but they were already Division I in other sports, so they were just in the Sun Belt in those other sports. It was the football that was the delay, which is a part I think sometimes confuses me because it seems like every program in the country is trying to play Division I football at this point in time.
And I'm not for sure why either.
Me neither. I mean, I guess used to it made sense because you were going to get those weird Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday night ESPN monies, to play on those oddball nights. So you were going to get money that you could not get any other way.
Or guaranteed money when you play Alabama's.
Yeah, but now it just seems like that's counterintuitive at this point. The money is huge, but it seems like those big schools or big programs are starting to soak up most of it.
Funding 80-something scholarships is huge too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you're correct. Yeah, and I don't know anything about Kennesaw State. I have no idea what their budget is and that kind of stuff, but I'm just surprised by this.
Yep.
But I would say the same thing about Jacksonville State, and I think they've been playing Division FBS for 4 or 5 years now.
Well, I mean, it's the South. They play football down there, so it makes sense. They're going to draw enough players for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, but I mean, just the school itself, I don't know if you've ever been by Jacksonville State, but there's not a whole lot there that I can recall. Now, it's been several years since I've been over there. But anyway, I just thought that was fascinating. And then so I started looking at the SEC. And I know we really just only added Oklahoma and Texas this year.
Pretty big.
Yeah, that's big. But, it's just the kind of thing where I just started thinking, I don't know where some of these people are. And I still just have a hard time wrapping my head around it. There are schools that have changed conferences. I can look at it and know it and not remember it. It just does not make sense to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. I mean, the SEC, I think most knowledgeable sports people can name those 16.
Yeah.
And they all border.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody now knows the Big Ten. You throw in the 4 Western states, the Western schools, USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah.
Maybe the Big 12 is a little bit more murky because they got some of the Pac-10 teams that came over as well. And the ACC has not changed at all. But, they got they're from coast to coast. Oh, I'm sorry, they have changed. They added Stanford, they added Cal, and they added SMU.
Yeah.
Now, where everybody else is outside those conferences, those are tough things to answer.
Yeah. So if you were to pick a conference, let's take the Big Four, so to speak. Is there 4 left? I mean, we got the Big 12, Big 10, ACC, and SEC.
Right.
So take the Big Four off the table. Are you interested in the football or?
Well, because of local Western Kentucky.
Yeah, true. Conference USA.
Conference USA, just because of the ties to Western Kentucky. But other than that, I'm for them. I'm for Washington State and Oregon State. I hope they win every game they play.
What kind of schedule are they playing? I've not looked at it yet.
I'm not for sure, but you're talking about being screwed over. They got screwed over. So I'm definitely for those type of schools and so forth. And
so you're not rooting for the SMUs, the Stanfords, and the Cals of the world?
Not really. I think it's stupid what they did.
Yeah.
But they had to go somewhere. But I think it's kind of crazy what the ACC. But I'm against USC and UCLA. I think what we'll see, and I mentioned this 1,000 times, you give it a couple years, and I think the only remnants of UCLA and USC and Oregon in the Big Ten will be football, maybe basketball.
Yeah.
I think they're going to reshuffle it back to the minor sports per se. Is going to have to figure out something else.
Well, and I guess that's part of the deal. Me talking about Kennesaw State and them and Jacksonville State and these programs that have had Division I in some sports but not football. I think at some point in time this settles out where maybe it flips. So maybe you play in a certain conference in football and, like you said, maybe basketball, but everything else has to get geographically closer together again.
Yes, just for economic reasons.
Yeah, and so then it's curious to see what happens with the conference affiliation stuff, because in the end, these conferences don't care about those sports. I don't mean that they don't care at all. I mean, they don't mean as much to them financially.
Clearly.
When I say they don't care about them. So what they want to make sure the football and the basketball does a certain thing, but if the others want to do something else, they're probably free to go and do whatever they want to do. All right, it's the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's Glasgow. We'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening, and be sure and join James and John once again next Monday at 4 for the Brown Sports Bag, a local weekly sports machine presented by McDonald's of Glasgow.
Coming soon to your FM dial, this is Fox Sports Radio, WCDS Glasgow, AM 1230.